On a pitch-black October night in 1978, in a county that smelled of wet pine and rusted metal, Mara Bell drove alone to the dead television relay station on the hill outside her town. She was a radio repair technician, stubborn, practical, and unable to ignore a signal that had no business existing. For 3 nights, every household in the valley had heard the same voice bleeding through their sets after midnight. A calm man speaking in a soft, educated tone, naming streets, dates, and the private fears of people who vanished years ago. The relay station had been abandoned since the government switched to satellite transmission. Its dish leaned like a broken eye against the clouds. Inside, the air tasted of mold and old pennies. Fluorescent tubes hummed overhead, one flickering with a weak green pulse that made the corridor look underwater. Mara carried a flashlight, a toolkit, and a revolver she did not know how to use well. She had come because her name had been mentioned on the radio. "Mara," the voice had said, "if you are listening, you are already late." She found the generator room first. In the center stood a rack of tape machines from another era, all linked by fresh wire. The reels spun, though nothing powered them. On the concrete floor lay scraps of paper covered in neat handwriting, names of missing girls, truck drivers, a pastor, a child who had disappeared in 1956. At the bottom of each page was the same signature, repeated like a prayer: Elias Vane. Everyone in the county knew that name. 20 years earlier, Vane had been a traveling electronics salesman who lured people into his van with promises of free repairs, then vanished after a string of disappearances. The police had never found a body. The townspeople called him a killer, a drifter, a rumor with teeth. Then the tape machine clicked. A fresh voice filled the room, so close it seemed to breathe against Mara's ear. "You want the truth about Elias Vane?" it whispered, "or the truth about why he never died?" Mara spun around. The corridor behind her was empty, but one of the dark monitor screens had lit up. In the glass, she saw a man standing just behind her reflection, tall in a brown salesman's suit, face hidden in static and shadow, as if a television image had learned to wear skin. She turned again. No one was there. The voice continued, patient and amused. It explained that Vane had not been a man in the ordinary sense. In the 1950s, he had built a prototype broadcast receiver capable of carrying sound through hidden frequencies, frequencies so low they could ride the static between program channels and into a mind. He had used it to speak into lonely houses, into children's bedrooms, into parked cars on dark roads. He had never needed to chase his victims. He only needed them to answer. Mara felt the room tilt. On the wall beside the tapes, a city map was pinned under dozens of red strings. Each string led to a house in her county. Each house belonged to someone who had died answering the same midnight call. Then she recognized her own address. The voice brightened. "You repaired radios for a living, Mara. You've been tuning me in for years." The lights died. In the blackness, the tape machines kept spinning. One by one, household voices crackled from the speakers. A mother calling for her son, a deputy begging for backup, a child crying after midnight. Beneath them ran Vane's soft, steady breathing. Somewhere in the darkness, metal clicked open, like a cassette door. Mara raised the revolver with shaking hands. The flashlight caught the far end of the room, just long enough to show a man-shaped outline, forming from snow on a dead television screen, as if the static itself were knitting him together. And from every speaker in the station, from every radio in the valley below, the same calm voice said her name again. When the state troopers found the relay station at dawn, the building was empty. The tape machines were burned out. The map was gone. But in every garage, diner, and bedside radio across the county, a new station had begun to play. A woman's voice, trembling but clear, warning anyone who would listen not to answer after midnight. And beneath her warning, so faint most people missed it, was another voice smiling through the static, saying he had found a better way to travel.